The Drug Alternative Program presents Drugs Close to Home. Your weekly insight into the ongoing stories of struggle, victory, and the spiritual renewal of rehabilitation. Each week, Cliff and Freddie Harris, co-founders of the Drug Alternative Program, would like to introduce you to the many people who have touched their lives through their spirit-filled ministry. But most of all, they would like to share with you the blessings they continue to receive from Jesus Christ. And now, your hosts of Drugs Close to Home, Cliff and Freddie Harris.
Welcome to Drugs Close to Home, a program about the destruction that drugs causes our families.
And the power of Jesus Christ that heals them. We believe every life is worth saving.
Freddie, that is so true because every changed life is a miracle from God.
Amen. You know, honey, I was thinking about our marriage.
Oh.
You know, we were supposed to have a wedding, you guys, and that's a whole nother story. The preacher wouldn't marry us because of his previous marriage. That's a whole nother story. But we went to Oklahoma City for my nephew's wedding, and while we were there, my sister-in-law said, "You guys are getting married." We said, "Getting married?" So she took us to get our blood test, and then one of our classmates was the judge. We went to the
his court,
to his office,
his chambers,
and he married us. And
we got married in
jeans.
T-shirts and jeans.
Right. And then we had our little honeymoon,
Yes.
and it was wonderful.
Yes, wasn't it wonderful?
Yes.
I love it. Think about all the good times we had.
Right.
Yes.
So listen, we have a special guest today, Tracy Lee Wise. We have the same middle name,
Yes.
Tracy Lee Wise.
Sometimes I call him Dr. Chase or Tracy Wise.
Right. But we'd like to welcome you, Tracy.
Thank you for having me.
You were a graduate of 2001,
2001,
right?
yes.
Okay, so what happened after you graduated?
Well, in 2001, I worked for the program for you guys. I managed your recovery home for 5 years. Worked for you guys lawn supervisor for 7 years. Then I ended up relapsing in 2000 and 2008.
Right.
And ended up moving back to Mississippi through that. Ended up getting in a little trouble out here at the same time with the courts out here for perjury. You know, and lying on the old signing papers that wasn't true about a car that I sold. And I ended up having to do some little time for that, but like I said, I left here in 2008 after that and running from probation. Ended up moving back home to Mississippi to my mom.
But wait a minute, Tracy Freddie. I saw him one day walking down the street. He didn't see me, and I knew he was using again. And you know what I came to that conclusion? He had his hat on backwards. He had his hat on backwards. And I knew, I said, he's gone back to his old ways, back to the old Tracy.
Back to what's comfortable.
Yes, yes. So while you were there, what happened? What encouraged you, or how did you come to the conclusion to come back here? What was that decision all about?
Well, you know, once you're in that lifestyle, you know, once you go back, it gets even harder. You know what I'm saying? And while being back in Mississippi, you know, I still was still doing drugs and. Ended up getting more in debt with people even with the people I owed when I left the first time. Nothing ever changed. And once I was there, you know what I'm saying, I accumulated a lot of debt. But two things that happened that were dramatic to me was death of my two brothers. You know, and I had one brother that died of cancer and one that died of a massive heart attack, which he was an alcoholic himself. And I ended up finding him while he was passed out on the ground. And at that time, he was already dead, and I just didn't know it. But at the same time, thought that would change me, but through the whole process of it, all the way up till I came back, I just drank and smoked and did drugs, and a lot of times I was hoping that I would die. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to just die because at that point, he was the only one that would accept me into his home and do for me, even though I was out in the streets. He understood me, and once that he was gone, I said, man, that's my brother, my best friend, and you know, and he's gone. You know, what do I have left? You know what I'm saying? And so I just immersed myself in more drugs, more alcohol.
So your brother died. The second brother died.
One of my brother, Lewis, that's my father's son, and my brother James is my mother's son, and that's what I'm talking about now. And I just immersed myself more in drugs, you know, and more in alcohol. I went back to the first love I ever had. You know, that was the first thing I ever had was alcohol.
And that's what makes you feel comfortable.
It makes me feel comfortable, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, I'm already an outburst person, so that just, you know, it just made me.
How was your relationship with your mom and your kids when you went back?
Well, at that time with my kids, it wasn't no relationship, you know what I'm saying, with my son. With my daughter, I ended up moving in with my daughter at one point, and I ended up messing up that relationship.
What messed up? What happened there?
One night getting high on drugs, and went out, you know what I'm saying. I said, well, I'll just sell a little bit of this clothing here, and when I sold one clothing, I ended up selling some more and some more and some more until all their clothes was gone.
Who was this? The kids'
My
clothes?
My grandkids' clothes, you know what I'm saying, and I sold all their clothes. I'm talking about not just one, I'm talking about everything they had, and I left without her even knowing, and
This was your daughter's
and this
children.
was my daughter, you know, my firstborn, and I tell her she's in my heart, you know, because I love her, but at that time I didn't, you know. I thought I did. I didn't even love my grandkids because if I did, I wouldn't have done that.
Yes.
You know.
So you went back to the streets after you left
Went
her?
right back to the streets, you know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, I was never off the streets because where she lived, a lot of people knew me there, and I was just right back in the same cycle. So I never really left the streets, you know.
So what happened to help for you to come to a conclusion that you needed to get some help?
Well, one day I was in the crack house, and I was laying on the couch, and one of the guys I owed money to came in the house and looked at me and said, "Now when you gonna pay me my money?" You know, and I laughed because, like I said, I wanted to die. I didn't care, you know. I don't fear man, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Okay, you know, you gonna pay my money." He walked out of the house and he left, and I know it wasn't nothing but the Holy Spirit said, "You need to get up and get out of here today, or you will die." You know, and I listened, and I got up, and the Holy Spirit just guided me all the way to my mom's house, and you know, and on the way to my mom's house, my niece came out and said, "Uncle Tracy, I love you." You know, and that was strange for me to hear, you know, for her to tell me that. I'm like, why she just, I'm just walking home. Why'd she say that? So I get to my mom's house, and I tell my brother and them, you know what? I got to do something here. Something got to change, and I need to call DAP. You know, I need to go back. You know, and
So why would you want to come all the way back here knowing that you had a case here and knowing that you would go to jail if you came back to California? Knowing this program, how it was structured, what you went through the first time. Why? Because there were programs right there where you were. You didn't have to come back to California.
right. Well, yeah, it's most definitely programs where I were. And but coming back to DAP, I knew I had family. I knew I had the discipline of you and Mrs. Harris, a mother and a father, and I knew I needed that. And I knew once I got back, even though I knew the course and I had to go to jail and all that, once I knew I stepped foot in the doors, I can have some peace. I can sleep. I can feel safe. I can feel comfort. I can feel Christ again. I can get that relationship with God, you know, and I knew that. All I just need to do is just make that first phone call.
Yeah.
You know, but pride kept me for all those years from doing that, you know. But when I finally made that call, that was a blessing.
You know, I want to say this to the audience a little bit. Tracy called me. I will never forget, it was on a Sunday morning that you called me. I knew you were going to call sooner or later because I knew you were back out there doing the same old stuff again. I knew you would. And he did call me, and what did you say on the phone?
I said, Mr. Harris, I said, I need to come home.
Come home.
Come home. Didn't ask, can I come and would you accept me in the program?
I need to come home.
Come home.
I knew you would accept me. All I got to do is just say I'm coming home. I need to come home.
And I asked him, I says, well, Tracy, how you going to get here? What did you say then?
I said, just give me a one day. I'll come up with the money. Just trust me. I'll get the money.
And I knew that. And I knew you would do something wrong to get the money. Because you didn't have a job. You was out there going to scheme or do something to get yourself in trouble in Mississippi or get busted or whatever. And I said, no, Tracy, I will go down and get you a ticket. You just pack your lunch, and I will get you a ticket to come. It'll be at the station for you. And that's what he did, Freddie.
Yeah, I got on the bus, and a church member took me to the bus station. I got on the bus, and that was a long ride, you know, and people offered me drugs and to drink at different stops, and I was like, no, I'm going to a program. You know, even though I wanted to, but I said, no, if you do it now, you'll forever keep doing it.
In other words, making the decision now that I will follow through, not even waiting to get to the program.
Right. I need to start making that decision right now. There's no waiting.
So how did you feel when you came back?
When I came back, a little nervous. You know, I was nervous because like I said, I hadn't been here in a while, and you know, I want to know how Mr. Harris is going to deal with me. You know, like hey, I know I'm going to have a talk with him sooner or later. You know, and I was anticipating that conversation, but it was a blessing. Still, it was a blessing.
And how did the church members and the people treat you?
You know, they treated me with open arms. You know, everyone I seen gave me a hug, told me they loved me, they were glad to see me back, and they're praying for me, you know, and it couldn't have been any better. And I was like, wow, you know, the things we think that's going to happen don't happen. You know, all we got to do is trust God.
Now, how many months did you have to go before you graduated the second time?
Woo, I went 20 to 21 months. I
Yeah,
think it was,
21 months,
Almost
So I
right.
2 years.
always put them, if they come back a second time, brother, you're going to go way past the time
So,
again.
but you know what? It was a blessing because
Yes.
I needed that. I really needed that time because we can do a hurry up thing, but I needed that time.
So after
know-
you graduated, what happened?
Well, after I graduated, I ended up.
Well, before we go there, there's one part I want to bring out that's very important, and I'll never forget this as long as I live and got my right mind up here. Tracy would come to me, Mr. Harris, we need to go to court. I need to take care of that. Okay, we're going to go. And finally, we went to court. Went to court, they called his name, he went up there, and I was in the courtroom. No sooner than he got up to the bench, I was sitting there watching, and I saw the guard walking up to him. They had already made their decision. They're going to arrest him right there. And they arrested him right there. And Tracy turned around and he looked at me like a little child. I'll never forget that look. He looked at me, Freddie, in a sense of, Mr. Harris, can you help me? Help me. It was like a little child that was saying, come and get me or do something. But in that process, when he went to jail, they kept him there for 30 days. And after those 30 days, what happened?
I was real ready to get out of there.
Yes.
I know that. But, you know, it changed a lot. You know, even though I had to pay a lot of fines and everything, do the 3-year probation, but God blessed me through all that, you know, and I ended up, once I complete the program, you know what I'm saying, started working for you guys, and I still had obstacles coming up dealing with the court system, but God still was working everything out. As time things come up, he was working it out, you know.
So now you're back at church.
Back
You
at church.
graduated the program. You're
Graduated.
working here at DAP. And guess what, Freddie? He has met a young lady. Okay?
Okay, well, our time is running out.
That's
We're
all
gonna-
right, but we're going to come back, you guys, and we're going to meet the young lady that he says he's in love. Do you think he's in love with her,
I know,
Freddie?
he's got a pep in his step.
Got a pep in his step. I can tell he's even talking. His demeanor is just up when I walk up to the job. Hi, Mr. Harris. He just as happy and everything. So we'll be right back, and we're gonna meet the young lady. Yes.
12 to 18 months. That scared me because I just kind of wanted to get better and move on with my life. All the programs I'd been to were, you know, from a week to 60 days or 90 days, but 12 months to 18 months was just outrageously long, and that scared me. But when I got here, my impression was, you know, I wouldn't have come unless I finally decided that it didn't matter anymore. The time was of no consequence to me. I screwed everything up so bad. I just wanted above anything else to get better.
You have to get serious with yourself, and that's what I'm doing. I have decided to make that difference in my life. That means no matter how long it takes, even if it's more than 18 months, then that's what I'm gonna do, because it has brought structure in my life to do the things that I need to do to make sure, you know, when I get back out there, you know, I always want DAP in my life too, no matter where I go, because I like the fact that the way they help us, it's pure love.
It did shock me the long amount of time that it was going to take, but I see it as a positive because they're not trying to just change you for a short amount of time. They're trying to change you inward, spiritually.
It's most definitely a program. You got to give it a chance, you know what I'm saying? And once you give it a chance and see what it's about, because it's no doubt that you won't fall in love with what's going on here at DAP.
Welcome back. We're talking to our graduate, Tracy Wise, and we want to introduce to you his girlfriend, Aisha. Welcome, Aisha.
Thank you for having me.
This is why Tracy has such a big smile on his face these days.
Yes.
Okay, tell me, how did you meet Aisha, Tracy?
Well, how I met Aisha, I had been seeing her at church, and
Church, you guys,
yeah.
church.
And when I saw her, I was like, wow, you know, that's a beautiful young lady. But I thought she was too young for me. I said, man, she looked like she might be 30. You know,
Right.
I said, I'm in my 40s.
Watch out, Tracy. You might not tell our age now.
No, I won't tell. So I said, she looks too young. She looks too young for me. And I was a little intimidated too also, because I said, she looks professional.
Right.
You know,
And what
I'm
is your
old.
profession, Aisha?
I'm a registered nurse and a nurse manager.
She's a nurse manager, registered nurse.
Right. So if I have a heart attack, she can take care of me. So, you know, so I was looking at her, I said, wow, you know, but I like to talk to her. And I ended up mentioning her to
Miss
my
Fast
mom,
Freddie.
to my mom, to you. And you said, you like her? I said, yeah, I do. And I said, you said, well, okay. And next thing I knew, you had told her about me.
Right, gave her the phone number.
You gave her the phone number and everything. And we missed each other for a while. And a couple of Sabbaths later, she walked up to me and she tapped me on the shoulder and she gave me her phone number. And it scared me. I was like, whoa, I didn't know what to do. I was like,
Because you had been trying to call her and
right,
couldn't
I had
get
been
her.
trying to call her, and I was thinking, maybe she ain't interested in me. And
Right.
So when she did that, it scared me because I was like, you know, that never happened. You know, the men, we are the aggressor, we the chaser. You know, we the one. And when I got that tap on the shoulder, it's like, well, okay.
That was a sign saying, oh, come give me a call.
Come give me a call. Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys have just blended.
We
You
just
know,
blended,
just
yes,
how did you feel when you met him, Aisha?
You told me when we were coming out from church, and you were like, do you know Tracy? I said, I think the name sounds familiar. And you said you were going to give me a newsletter. But I went home and I looked up on Facebook. And I said, oh, he kind of looks familiar. But then at the time I was thinking, because I was at a stage in my life where I said, I'm really not trying to look for anyone. I'm just trying to go to school, raise my kids, and I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Right. You have two daughters.
Yes.
And
yes.
what's their names? How old are they?
Kelsey is 8. Caroline is 4.
Okay.
But I always tell people she's 4 going on 40. Yeah.
So you're just interested in your children? And
Yes,
your job.
yes. So I kept trying to put it away, and then my phone was thrown in water, of course, by my kids trying to take their selfies. And then finally, when I had it back, I came to church the one day, and because we had been talking, I said, he used to be a little bigger than that. And he said, yeah, he had gone through this diet change and
Right.
stuff.
How much did you lose, Tracy?
50 pounds.
50
I'm still
pounds.
jealous.
50 pounds, okay.
Yeah, so I came back from the kids' Sabbath school, and as I walked in church, I saw him, and I think he was wearing his navy blue suit.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, he looks fine. So, yeah, so after church, I wrote down my number, and I tapped him on the shoulder, as he said, and I said, call me.
And you just walked away.
Yes.
Walked away.
That
I
was
didn't
it.
say yes.
Walked away.
Yes.
And I fell in love right there.
That's that day.
That
Getting
day.
the phone
That
number
day.
on the
Right.
page.
Get a phone number.
That sounds like Cliff and Freddie Harris.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You know, yes, it does. So, you know, and I just want to say, so can I talk to you?
Yes,
I
you
just
can
want to let you know, baby, I love you. And
Call her no baby.
You mean the world to me.
I love you more.
You're my heartbeat. You're the air that I breathe, girl. You know, you're my sunshine.
Oh.
And I just want to tell you,
Oh, no.
I just want to ask you, will you marry me?
Yes.
Yay! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! All right! All right! All right.
I didn't hear. Did you give an answer yet?
Yes.
Well, let me hear it. Let me hear it. Real good and loud.
Yes.
All right. Let's give another clap.
All right. Now you see why we have an audience out there.
Yes.
And Tracy's got a few tears in his eyes. What do you have to say, Tracy?
I love her. You know, she's been a breath of fresh air to me from day one. You know, and I never met anyone like her. You know, and her strength. You know, what I'm saying, she's courageous, she's bold, and she's beautiful. You know, and she's godly.
All right.
You know, and I couldn't ask for any more. You know, I couldn't ask anybody better. And I thank God
Aisha.
for her.
You know, it's rare for me to be speechless.
But you wasn't expecting any of this, did you?
Not at all.
So how do you feel right now?
Oh, I have a lot of emotions right now, and I'm trying not to cry.
It's okay.
Well, you know, our programs are for real. You know, we be real here.
Yes. I just want to say I love you too. And he knows I always tell him I love him more. Every time he says I love you, I try to one-up him all the time. And I've told him, you can't win. So you just have to let me be. And I love you more. And I always love you. And as I told you, I think God saw it fit at a time when I wasn't even looking or thinking, if I could borrow Mrs. Harris' words, that God makes you sure that you are in his hands, that you're doing his will, that you're focusing more on him. That's the time that he gets you somebody that's right for you. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't have had a better man than you, babe. I love you.
All right. Right.
You know, Tracy, Mrs. Harris, what's Mrs. Harris's instruction to you? After you graduate, you need to wait.
Wait.
You have to, and Tracy, you waited almost 2 years.
Yeah,
She's all filled almost 2
Well, it's
years.
been two.
Yeah,
2
2
years.
years.
Yeah,
2
2
years. I
yeah.
say because you need to get established, you know. So you're working for DAP, you're getting your credit together, you're
Yes.
getting saving money,
Yes.
and the Lord has, you know. When I saw Aisha, I said, you know what, she's the one. She's the one.
Well, you know, you're a matchmaker anyway, Freddie. You're always putting people together.
And she's an awesome one.
Yes.
I love you.
But I love you too, and I'm so glad to have you as our daughter.
How many daughters do we have now?
Several.
Let's see. We gathered, let me see, I think 1, 2,
You can't count them. We have all kinds of daughters.
oh, they're all over the place. And guess what? Bruce is about ready to
That's
get married.
right.
He's
Bruce
coming
is going
up.
to be getting
Yes.
married in April, so we're going to bring him and his bride on.
All
Yeah,
right.
she's coming all the way from, where is that,
Hong
Bruce?
Kong.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, right.
Okay.
So that
All
they're getting
right.
married April 19th, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But Tracy and Aisha, you know, we're just so happy because we want everyone to be happy like
Yes,
us, right?
That's right. Want you to enjoy life like I have.
And to have a godly man and a godly woman, you know, someone that you can go to church together, you believe the same. Because I tell these guys, you know, you need a Christian woman, you know, someone that's going to enhance your relationship you already have with God.
Right.
And you guys are right on.
Right on. It's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
When I just see you when you come to work, man, I can tell the joy in you. I can tell the difference that there's a difference altogether about you.
Right.
Because before he met her, you know, I was looking at him in church and he'd be just sitting there, you know, and just looking all kind of down or whatever, not depressed or anything.
Right.
But now, and he's got a pretty smile too, Freddie. He's handsome, a nice smile. I don't say pretty, but a handsome smile.
Right. And lost all that weight and
Yes.
looking good. And now he's going to have a woman that can cook for him.
Yes.
And do for him.
Yes. Different type of cooking. I love it.
Oh, that's right. What kind of, where are you from?
I'm from South Africa.
Okay.
But I was born in a country called Malawi. And and I speak 7 languages.
Oh, 7 languages.
Let's tell us,
And-
give us maybe
tell us a
4 or
little
5.
about
And,
yourself.
and there's one language, the Zulu language, which is the most popular one. When I first came to America and I see people signing their cards and they do XOXO, I'm like,
What is
why
that?
would you say frog to somebody you love?
That's what it means.
Because in my language, it means a frog.
Oh, okay.
And the only thing you add an I, and it's pronounced ikoko.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So I said, why do people here love each other and then say not so nice words at the end, only to understand that it means hugs and kisses?
Hugs and kisses, right.
Yes. So that's called the Zulu language. And the other language I speak is called Chichewa, and that's the one I teach the kids. And unfortunately, most of the words they know is don't do that, sit down, you're going to have time out. Yeah, but they're learning, and they're so interested now as they're growing, and because they see that other kids speak maybe Spanish, and now they want to understand other languages that
So you speak Spanish too?
I speak Spanish too.
So what are some of the other languages you speak?
I also speak Shona. I also speak, it's called Tumbuka. I also speak a language called Yao. And it's not just dialects, it's totally different languages that if people from like 3-4 different countries are there. Like most of the times when I go to the All Nations African Church, that's when you can see me talking to somebody in this language that the next person to them cannot understand,
Right.
and then talk to the other one. But also I have to constantly remind myself that I have to speak in English, because I have caught myself in a heated conversation saying 1 or 2 words and people look at me and say, what did you just say? I'm like, oh, never mind. I need to go back to speaking in English. And somebody asked me, when you dream, in what language do you dream in? I don't know. I just understand it. I don't know if I dream in English or if I dream in my language. And one of my friends at work said, is it really a language? Because when you're talking on the phone, all I hear is That's like yes, yes.
Right.
And I say the best way to appreciate languages is if you're traveling and you go to an international airport, just sit there and listen to all the chatter.
Right,
Yes.
right.
It's amazing. Sometimes you think, are they really saying something? And you see them laughing and nodding their heads. You're like, okay,
Right.
I guess there's a conversation going out there. So I hopefully will
Teach
him just a little bit.
Right.
Because I should be able to say a few things with my sisters
Right.
without him hearing.
Well, I know you guys are going through counseling and all this is going to happen, but that day is coming. And we are just so excited for both of you.
And I know whatever day that is, we will be there.
That's right.
I want to ask you one thing. Never mind, I won't do that because I don't want to put you on the spot right now, okay?
But we're...
Here's one thing. I'm so glad you guys came. And one thing I want to do is this. Don't forget to give us a call. If you need help or you need someone just to talk to, give us a call. Our number is on the screen. And Freddie, this has been one of the best programs.
Yes.
I love this program. I was looking forward to doing it too.
So we have a son, and now we've gained a daughter, and we are
Yes.
excited. Thank you guys so much for coming to share your story. And thank you, son, for waiting.
Yes.
Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you for having us.
All
And thank
right.
you for being with us. And remember, we love you,
And Jesus loves you even more.
and we'll see you soon.
All right. See, surprise.